Um, Welcome. Yeah, my name is Chiaka Aduri Nodi. I will be your facilitator for this course. And the title of our course is Weave and Woven Textile Design, FAA 485. The course outline: 1 is weaving, 2, weave structure, 3, plain weave, 4, some simple basic weaves, 5, more complex weaves and weave combinations, 6, sample warps, 7, finishing, 8, fabric specifications, making particulars, and 9 will summarize. We're going to be taking them weaving. We're starting with weaving as lesson 1, lesson 2 to lesson 9. Okay, so we start with lesson 1, weaving. Introduction. Weaving is probably the oldest form of fabric construction known throughout the world. The process probably originated some 8,000 years ago with Neolithic man. Now, woven fabrics consist of 2 sets of threads, the warp and the weft, that are interlaced at right angles to each other. We'll see a sample in figure 1 in the next slide. The warp threads run parallel to the selvage down the length of the cloth, and each warp thread is known as an end. The weft threads are called peaks and runs across the cloth, walking under and over the warp ends from selvage to selvage. Now, this is a sample of it. Now, the warp threads are those going vertical, the vertical ones like columns, they are the warp threads, and those going horizontally are the weft threads. And you can see that they meet at right angles. Okay, so now, basic operations in weaving. Weaving involves 3 basic operations: lifting or shedding, 2, picking, and the 3rd one is beat up or battening. First, some of the warp threads are lifted. This lifting of some threads and the leaving down of others creates a space called the shed. The weft yarns are then passed through the shed, which is the picking. Finally, the weft is beaten up to the fabric already formed. Now, the loom is the device used for keeping the warp threads evenly spaced and under tension, and quite complex structures can be made on simple looms. Loom is actually the machine for weaving, if you may put it that way. Below is an example of a standard loom and also the traditional akwete loom. Yes. Now, initial considerations. When you're weaving, there are initial considerations. The initial design briefing should give the designer the information needed to undertake the design work. From this, the designer should be clear about purpose, performance, and price. All 3 of these will have an impact on the final designs. Now, purpose. The designer needs to know why the design work is being requested. What is it intended for? Is it for a new range? If yes, for what season? Is the work to coordinate with existing styles? What is the intended customer profile? These are important to know the purpose for which you're weaving and know it will affect the kind of weaving, what you're weaving for. Then performance required. How does the fabric have to perform? E.g., if the fabric is for upholstery, for furnishing, you know the kind of impact that will be, it's used, people sit on it or things. There's more pressure applied to this kind of fabrics. So what type of use is expected is very important, you know it. Is it for occasional use or heavy use? The performance requirements for these 2 uses are clearly quite different. Now, price. A product going into a market where it can command a high price can use more expensive components than something that is intended as part of a cheaper budget range. Now, color consideration. Early in the design process, it is likely that the weave designer will establish a likely range of colors. Ideas for color will come from their own observations, but it is likely that they will also use some of the color trend information available in forecasting publications and on the web. Now, as well as choosing colors to fit in with predicted trends, we designers need to ensure that they choose colors that work together. Color choice also has to bear in mind the requirements of existing and potential customers. You got to know what they want. You are making these things for them. So you have to consider their own choices too. So color palettes will often have 4 sections. You have the lights, the pastels, then you have the mid-tones, brights and darks, carefully chosen to satisfy the requirements outlined above. So here we see a color wheel. It's the 12, the color wheel. That's the standard color wheel, which is the 12 colors. You have the primary color, and you have the secondary colors, and you have the tertiary colors in this combination. On the other side, we see yarns, samples of yarns in different colors, because that's what we're going to be working with. That's what we weave with. Yarns are like threads, that you use to weave. And so these are different color considerations we have to look at, the samples there, okay? And so now, yarn selection. Yarn selection. With colors selected, decisions have to be made about yarns. Yarns may be sourced from ranges put together by spinners, or they may be developed specially for the product being developed. The type of yarn used in a fabric has a great impact on the final cloth. The fibers used for the yarn will affect handle and performance characteristics, as well as will the count. The count is a measurement of linear density, usually given as weight per measured unit of length or length per measured unit of weight, and the construction of the yarn itself. Fancy or effect yarns combined with different weaves and structures give an almost endless variety of possibilities for the designer. And with color, the possibilities are expanded even more. So now we have looked at the theory, all these written things about this weaving, like an introduction part. Next, in the next class, we are going to be looking at the weave structure, and that's the practical part, where you begin to see how to put this weave together. And so that's lesson 2. So our next lesson will be on weave structure. Thank you for now. Thank you.